welcome all of you back to the Super Memory for Schools programme. Today in the lesson of Unit 13, Festival Lesson 3. I, Mr. Quee, will accompany you in an important knowledge in the 8th grade English programme. That knowledge's name is reported speech, also known as the statements in the form of a usual speech. The fact that we all have already learned this grammar knowledge in the first semester. But we only got used to it with the way using the command sentence, the advice sentence, or the request sentence. And today we will learn the reported speech and the statements in a more difficult form, so please notice today's lesson carefully. Firstly, let's recall what is a direct speech. Direct speech is the words by speakers, or we repeat the original words of the speakers. And the signs of a direct speech in a passage are that it usually has the quote marks. We will see the quote marks at the beginning of the sentence, the end, or inside of their speech. So, how is an indirect speech? People define indirect speech as a speech that is reported in the same meaning for the listeners. The usual sign is that the sentences have the verbs such as said or told somebody. For example, I have the following direct speech. My favourite sport is soccer. This is the original speech from Ming, and this speech is originally enclosed in the quotes. This is how we recognise it. When we heard this speech and reported from Ming, we have Ming said his favourite sport was soccer. Ming said that his favourite sport was soccer. We have the reporting verb, which is said. When we report a sentence, we have 3 common indirect sentence forms that you will learn in the high school programme. Firstly, reported statement, reporting the usual speech, we will learn in the lesson today. Secondly, reported questions, reporting questions we will learn in the next lessons. Thirdly, the reported commands, which is to report commands, requests. And today we will work on the reported statement. We will have the general structure of reported speech in form of following statement. Firstly, the sentence is started with the speaker. Next is the reporting verb such as said or told. Said that, told somebody that. That can be included or not. It is both fine. If you want to mention the listeners when using said, it must be followed with to, said to, and then the name of the listener. When using the verb told, there is no need to add to. We can put the name of the listeners directly behind the word told. Next is the subject, that did the action and the change the tense verb. What is changing tenses? Let's take a look. The notes when changing the indirect speech. This is to change the verbs, also known as changing tenses. Following the sequence of tenses, when the task wants you to have a sentence in the form of the simple present, we change the tense into the simple past. Similarly, the task gives you a sentence in the present continuous tense. We will change the verb to past continuous tense. The task gives you a sentence in the simple past. We will change the tense to the past perfect. This is a new tense that we have not learned in the 8th grade programme, but it is included in the simple past which you have learned, so I will introduce it to you. Past perfect has the structure subject plus had plus verb 3 ed. First of all, you have to remember the structure. You don't need to know how to use it. The present perfect, we will also change the tense to past perfect. Besides, we will have some modal verbs, such as can, could, will, would, may, might, have, has to, or had to. Besides, we will have some modal verbs such as can, could. Second note, when we change a direct sentence into indirect. In addition to changing the tense, we need to note that the pronoun components in the indirect speech, in addition, need to be changed to suit the main clause. We have some components to note that. Subjects need to be changed to suit the situation. Object pronouns, possessive adjectives and reflexive pronouns, which we have already learned in the first semester program. We need to change some adjectives and adverbs in a sentence. When the task gives you the word now, we change to then. Today to that day. Tonight to that night. This to that. These to those. Here to there. Ago to before. Tomorrow can be used in 3 following ways: the next day, the day after, or the following day. One of the 3 ways you can use whatever ways you want. The word yesterday can be changed to the day before or the previous day. With the word last week, we change to the week before. Those are 3 notes to remember when changing sentences. Now let's check with the following reality example. For example, I have a direct speech. I love my new car, he said. Please notice that the parts that I have changed. We change the indirect speech. He said that. With that subject, I, in the task, we have to change it to the subject, he. I to he. Love is in the simple present tense and will be changed to the simple past. Loved. My new car, we can see that there is a possessive word, my, which needs to be changed to his, to suit him. That is the first example. Let's observe the second example. We will visit Vung Tau tomorrow, they said. We will visit Vung Tau tomorrow, they said. Let's change this sentence to an indirect sentence. They said, the subject, we, will be changed to they. The verb will be changed to would and visit. Vung Tau tomorrow, we have 3 ways to change. The next day, the day after, or the following day. You can use whatever you want. The next example, I can finish these assignments myself. Lisa told me. I can finish these assignments myself. Lisa told me. Lisa told, and we will report the speech of Lisa. Lisa told me that. Lisa, I will be changed to she. Can finish to could finish. These is changed to those assignments. And myself to herself. With the sentences that have so many components that need to be changed and advice to do exercise better, is to prepare a pencil, underline the components that need to be changed in the direct speech. So, when changing the indirect speech, there will be no words missing. The next example, we are playing basketball now. They said to me. So we changes to they. Are playing, the present continuous, we change to were playing, the past continuous. Now we will change it to then. We have the sentence, they said to me that they were playing basketball then. Remember to underline which components need to be changed in the direct sentence, so that we do not miss out when changing into indirect sentences. I repeat 3 notes that we need to change when we change from direct to indirect speech. First note, you need to change tenses following the sequence of tenses. Please notice the tense and the sequence of tense. Present simple to the past simple, present continuous to the past continuous, past simple and the present perfect go back to the past perfect. We have verbs such as the modal verbs can to could, will to would, may to might, have has to had to. Second note, we must remember to change elements such as subject, object, possessive, reflexive. The third note, change adjectives and adverbs such as now to then, today to that day, tonight to that night, this to that, these to those, here to there, ago to before, tomorrow to the next day, the day after, the following day, yesterday to the day before, the previous day, and last week to the week before. To know thoroughly about indirect speech, I will repeat 3 things to remember: tense, pronouns, the group of adjectives, and adverbs. That's all we need to remember. See you again in the next lesson of the reported speech. See you again in the next lesson of Super Memory for Schools program. Goodbye.